The world is filled with haunted places, from ghost cities around the globe to the creepiest spots on Earth. Whether you're a ghost hunter, a history buff, or someone who loves architecture, there's nothing quite like being enchanted by an old church though, especially eerily beautiful yet haunted churches around the world. From John the Baptist Church to Sedlec Ossuary, in this video we're going to look at top 15 mysterious churches built on top of something evil. Number 15. Sedlac Ashuary. The Sedlac Ashuary in the Czech Republic is packed wall to wall with human remains. Tucked beneath a 14th century Gothic church, its lower chamber holds the bones of 40,000 to 70,000 real humans. And despite the grim inventory, it's oddly captivating. Skulls are linked together in chains, chalices are sculpted from bones, and its centerpiece is a chandelier built from every single bone in the human skeleton. In 1870, Czech woodcarver František Rint was hired to transform mountains of bones into structured design. Some say the first person to organize them was a half-blind monk in the 1500s who miraculously regained his vision. But Rint brought it to an entirely new level, and the end result is breathtaking in a grim, sacred kind of way. It's not sinister, it's a visual memento mori, a haunting reminder that we all turn to dust. Even so, many people say standing in that room beneath thousands of skulls is deeply unsettling. Around 200,000 people visit each year. And yeah, I'd definitely be one of them. I mean, why not? Number 14. St. Mary Seps Church in Cloville. It was constructed centuries ago and left deserted by the 1840s. St. Mary's Church in Cloville is widely considered one of England's most cursed and ominous churches. In 1963, two teenagers were exploring the site when they spotted a grave that had been disturbed. Inside, the remains had been arranged into a pentagram. A human skull had been jammed into a shattered window. Bones were placed in a circle and red crosses were smeared on the walls alongside feathers. Police later confirmed the coffin had belonged to a woman named Jenny Humberstone, buried in 1770. Panic spread fast over fears of devil worshippers. Soon after, locals began speaking of hooded figures conducting rituals under moonlight. Some insist the church was doomed from the start. Unlike most Christian churches that face east toward Jerusalem, this one was aligned west, what some call the Devil's Path. Now, whether that alignment matters or not, people still report creepy glowing lights, eerie chanting, and shadowy figures drifting between the graves. Number Drasen St. Michan Sich Church, Dublin. St. Michan's Church in Dublin is among the city's oldest landmarks, and it's famous for what lies beneath. Below the church are crypts that naturally mummified bodies over centuries, thanks to the dry air and limestone walls. Some of the mummies down there are over 800 years old. One of the most recognizable is the Crusader, a 6'5" man whose legs were broken just to fit him into the coffin. There's also a nun, a thief, and several unidentified individuals. Sadly, this place hasn't always been respected. In 2019, vandals broke in, cracked open coffins, and even stole a skull. Church officials later said the intruders played football with it. Then in 2024, a fire tore through the crypts, apparently arson. At least 5 mummies were damaged beyond repair, including the Crusader. His remains had to be buried elsewhere. Since then, people say the crypt feels off. Whether it's grief or rage, something's changed, and whatever it is, it's not welcoming. Number 12. Kartcha Monastery. Kartcha Monastery was built in 1204 by Cistercian monks deep in the Romanian countryside. For centuries, it remained a nearly forgotten religious site until strange things started happening. During renovations in the late 20th century, workers found 2 human skeletons buried beneath the monastery's cellar. That's not entirely unusual for medieval grounds, but what followed wasn't so typical. Ever since then, whispers have circulated. If you're looking for a hauntingly cinematic backdrop, this is it. The Nun was filmed here for a reason. The place gives off something unnatural. Witnesses say cloaked figures have been seen walking the premises at night. Some believe they're the spirits of monks who never left, still bound to the land. Others think something far darker resides within. Paranormal activity, especially poltergeist-type disturbances, has increased ever since those remains were found. Whether it's the past resurfacing or something else breaking through, Kartcha Monastery no longer feels like a place at peace. Number 11. Snagav Monastery. This monastery sits isolated on a small island in Snagav Lake, about 40 kilometers north of Bucharest. It was established in the 14th century and appears peaceful at first glance, but it carries a grim secret. Many think the real-life Dracula is buried here. According to legend, Vlad the Impaler lies somewhere beneath the church. His exact resting place is unknown, but it's said that stepping over his grave could transfer a curse. That's the tricky part. You won't know when it happens. Visitors have claimed to fall suddenly ill, while others have suffered accidents after mocking or disrespecting the area. In the 1960s, a group of treasure hunters attempted to dig beneath the church in hopes of finding Vlad's remains. Locals intervened, warning that the soil was cursed. It's shocking that more people haven't tried to uncover him. Honestly, if I thought I could find Dracula's grave, I'd risk the legend too. Some things are just too legendary to ignore. Number 10. The Skull Chapel in Poland. This next one might be one of the eeriest churches you'll ever walk into, the Skull Chapel in Poland. From the outside, it looks like a modest little chapel. Step inside and you'll see walls made entirely of human bones. About 3,000 skulls are packed into the structure, and another 21,000 complete skeletons are buried underneath the chapel floor. The man behind this was a priest named Vaclav Tomaszek. Between 1776 and 1784, he and a couple of grave diggers began collecting remains from nearby mass graves, mostly victims of war, famine, or disease. For more than a decade, they arranged the bones along the walls and ceilings, but not all were strangers. Supposedly, there's a giant skull resting on the altar, alongside the remains of a mayor, a priest, and even Tomaszek himself. His skull was added after his death, placed right near the altar's center. Beneath the monastery, every inch of this chapel is a tribute to death and a monument to those who never left. It's scary, it's beautiful, and it's not a place to miss. Number 9. Ancient Ram Inn. It makes sense why. England's ancient Ram Inn was originally constructed as a church around 1140, but it was built on land already soaked in blood. Before the church, the site was used as a pagan burial ground. Over the years, numerous bones and skulls have been uncovered, many showing signs of ritualistic killings. A woman accused of witchcraft was also burned here. So it's no surprise that once the place turned into an inn, it became notorious for hauntings. In the 1960s and 70s, paranormal researchers began documenting eerie accounts, children's voices, echoing laughter, and disturbing reports of demonic entities, including both succubi and incubi tormenting guests. In 1968, the inn's owner, John Humphreys, shared his own chilling story, being dragged from his bed by his ankles. It's believed the inn is haunted by nearly 20 spirits. From blood rituals to demonic encounters, this place doesn't just carry dark history, it lives in it. Number 8. St. John the Baptist Church. St. John the Baptist Church in Wazenburg is built on blood-stained ground. The current structure sits atop the ruins of an earlier monastery that was destroyed in 955 during a violent raid by Hungarian invaders. Nearly every monk was slaughtered, some executed in their quarters, others burned alive. It's said their spirits never moved on. Even today, visitors report cold gusts of air and ghostly chanting drifting through empty halls. The old monastery foundations are still visible under the modern church, and several guests have claimed to see strange lights flickering among the ancient stones at night. One person swore they saw a silent monk walking the corridor before vanishing into the wall. Another said they heard Latin prayers whispered at the altar while standing alone. The church remains in use today, which only adds to the strangeness. People attend Mass, then leave shaken, claiming they felt unseen hands or saw something shifting behind the pulpit mid-sermon. This church is just unsettlingly strange. Number 7. Capuchin Catacombs. In Palermo, Italy, below the surface lies a super vast network of tombs known as the Capuchin Catacombs. It started in the late 1500s when a group of Capuchin monks exhumed one of their own and found his body had dried and preserved naturally. They took it as a sign. From that point on, they stopped burying their dead and began preserving them. At first, it was only monks, but over time, wealthy locals paid to have their own bodies embalmed and placed in the crypt, dressed in fine clothes and mounted upright on display. Over 8,000 corpses now line the narrow corridors. Some still have flesh, others still have hair. One of the most well-known is Rosalia Lombardo, a young girl who died in 1920. Her body was so well preserved, people say her eyelids still flutter. Her glass coffin is the first thing you'll see walking in. People don't call the place haunted, but many say the heavy, suffocating atmosphere is impossible to ignore. Number 6. Stull Cemetery and Emmanuel Church. Stull Cemetery in Kansas sits behind the crumbling remains of a small 19th century church located between Topeka and Lawrence. Built in the 1860s and deserted by the 1920s, all that's left today are collapsed stone walls and a handful of weathered gravestones. But the stories surrounding this place are far from ordinary. According to local legend, it's one of the 7 gateways to hell. Twice a year, once on Halloween and again on the spring equinox, it's said the devil himself walks through the ruins. Some claim that if you count the stone steps into the basement, you'll never get the same number twice. Others report hearing growls, hoofbeats, or seeing shadowy figures among the trees. Even celebrities have felt its pull. Ariana Grande said she tried to visit but fled after hearing a voice whisper in her ear. One pope reportedly avoided flying over it entirely. Whether it's a myth or not, Stull has earned its place in American folklore. Number 5. The Borggan Stave Church. As the most recognizable stave church in Norway, this haunting building feels especially eerie. Its one-of-a-kind structure and location, nestled in the middle of a medieval graveyard, make it both captivating and creepy. The only stone used is in the base. The entire structure is crafted from wood, precisely cut and fitted without a single nail or spike. It worked, since the church has survived for over 1,000 years. Some of its sacred features still remain, such as the altar, and the wooden walls are marked with carvings of animals and mythical beings. Norse runes are also etched into the architecture. Everything inside and around the church holds deep cultural and spiritual meaning. The surrounding graveyard adds another layer, turning this place into something that feels frozen in time. Visitors speak of the stillness, of the strange pressure in the air, of hearing footsteps when no one is there. Whether it's spirits or silence, the place never feels empty. Number 4. The Basilica of St Patrick sits Old Cathedral. Hauntings from the past and a legendary setting make this a must-visit in New York. As one of the many historic landmarks in NYC, the St. Patrick's Old Cathedral carries a complicated and haunted past. Aside from being built above a labyrinth of mortuary vaults, open to the public only once a year, this unsettling church is the final resting place for numerous priests and religious figures. Rumor has it that a layman, Pierre Toussaint, also haunts the church and the surrounding area, as he's buried deep in the catacombs. The church has welcomed many faces and names and endured violent, chaotic eras throughout New York's history. It's hauntingly beautiful and undeniably unsettling all at once. There's a strange, quiet reverence to the place, but underneath it all, you can't shake the sense of unresolved presence. What stands today isn't just a relic of faith, it's layered in stories, spirits, and the energy of those who never truly left. Number 3. St. Paul Sips Episcopal Church in Florida. Well, now this is just a total mystery. Sitting along Key West's famous Duval Street, this Episcopal church holds more secrets than its spotless exterior suggests. This place proves Florida isn't just beaches and amusement parks, it's packed with haunted history. Strangely, the church only appears new because it's been rebuilt multiple times. Archaeological digs revealed that this spot was once a Seminole burial ground, and that's only part of the story. The property was once privately owned by the Fleming family, and the church was allowed to build here only after the widow received a promise her late husband's remains would not be disturbed. According to legend, that promise was broken. The ghost of John William Charles Fleming still roams the site. Others say a group of ghostly children haunts the graveyard, victims of a fire set by a vengeful deacon who tried to punish his unfaithful wife. Located on one of the most famous streets in Key West, this beautiful church carries more pain than most realize. Number 2. Church of Our Lady Before Teen. A towering Gothic structure filled with tombs looms silently above the city of Prague. Even under sunlight, the brick exterior and spiked Gothic towers are overwhelming. It's the kind of place where you'd expect something undead to reside. If you take a guided night tour, the interior, lit only by dim candlelight, can chill you to your bones. This church was first constructed in the 14th century, and its ancient Baroque artwork and faded altar paintings appear to shift and breathe in the flickering light. As with most centuries-old European churches, this one houses tombs and crypts beneath the floor, the most famous being the final resting place of astronomer Tycho Brahe. Every part of this church feels alive with history. The silence here isn't empty, it's dense with centuries of prayers, grief, and something darker you can't quite name. Nothing here jumps out at you, but everything feels like it's watching. You don't walk through it, you're pulled. Number 1. The Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. Plenty of eerie churches exist across the U.S., but this next haunted one rises straight out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, the striking Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis of Assisi. With countless people passing through its doors over the decades, it's no wonder spirits tend to stay behind. Beneath the building are sealed tombs, occasionally opened and blessed, which have led to several reports of strange noises and eerie sightings after dusk. Interestingly, it's not just the basilica that's active. The surrounding downtown area has been the site of unexplained movement, laughter, and on rare occasions, blood-curdling screams. Tourists have reported seeing figures darting between alleys and shadows, watching from windows long after midnight. At the heart of it all stands the basilica, towering and timeless. The location feels sacred during the day, but strangely off when night hits. It's hard to say what lingers here, but whatever it is, it doesn't seem ready to leave. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.